Hi, this is Jim Giorgenti with GamersBliss.com, and I'm here with the lead producer for Tomb Raider. And I just got a chance to check out the demo, and it was pretty sick.
Awesome.
But I want to ask you a few questions. So, you know, this is Lara Croft like we've never seen her before.
Absolutely.
You know, and she, you know, we see her at last year we saw her, and I saw her. She seemed like tough and you know. But now I just got to see the demo, and it seemed like she was like super vulnerable, and it seems like you guys are really taking the realistic approach with this. What would you say is like the biggest change in her personality?
You know, I think that Lara's on a character arc like so few people have told of any video game character. She's starting out this young 21-year-old adventurer on her first trip, not expecting to find her way here, ending up on this island, which is hostile. It's this woman versus nature sort of element to it. And she starts out having a world do things to her, and over time she becomes that survivor. So it's kind of that like survival to survivor sort of story. So you see her in the beginning of her arc, everything's coming at her a little bit fast, right? Like it's just like, wow, this is really overwhelming. She goes through that desperate sort of portion of her character arc until she gets that resolve and starts to actually fight back.
Because that's another thing I wanted to ask you, like as far as how she progresses, because in past games you just kind of go, you know, Lara Croft just goes from temple to temple, but in this game, I mean, how would you say she progresses through this game? Is it it's kind of the same sense, but she's just kind of like finding herself and morphing into, you know, what you were saying before?
You know, I think that's a great question. It's really, in my mind, about that hero's journey. Right? She's out there trying to show her will to survive, to persevere against those odds. So you're going to find her very early on in the game having a hard time with just keeping pace with things. I mean, she has no weapon in the very beginning. You saw that. You saw that she has her determination, I guess you could say, but it's really not about her fighting back. And then as she becomes resourceful, right, that smart, resourceful Lara sort of stuff, she's picking up that weapon that she saw hanging on a man and starts to use it. And now she's got a bow, a signature weapon. When a deer stumbles across her path, she's thinking what you and I would probably be thinking. Dinner time, right? Like, how does she overcome those odds, and how does she actually show the will to survive is not just about not dying. It's about overcoming the odds, and it's about getting punched through where other people's fates, who she saw, ended, right? She took that weapon off of a dead man, right? His journey ended there, and her journey just began.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because it's such a, you know, huge franchise, and it's been around for so long, but it, you know, in this title, we're finally really getting to see, you know, who is Lara, where, you know, what is she all about and stuff. Can you explain the experience system, the XP system a little bit?
Yeah, what we have that we showed today is a base camp system where Lara, as she's going ahead and exploring around the world, is earning experience and survival-based things, salvage, if you will. And she takes that salvage to that base camp, she's upgrading something. So in the very early parts of the demo, you saw she tried to help Whitman move through this massive gate, right? And her initial axe that she found downstairs in that scavenger sort of hunting room wasn't strong enough. And so as she goes around and actually upgrades that particular piece of gear, she starts to make use of it. And you'll find that throughout the game. A bow is a great example of a weapon, but it's also a gear item that helps her overcome that hostile world.
And that's her main weapon, the bow, would you say?
I think that's absolutely a signature weapon. I mean, in a survival situation, when you have those arrows out, there's something that just seems so primal, right? And so natural for her to pull back. And even as she misses the shots, you feel that sort of synaptic link between you and her, right? Especially if you're like me and you miss a lot, right?
No, it was intense, you know, especially when she got caught in that bear trap, man. Oh, man.
It was something that I hope I never find myself in.
You didn't get to really go into the whole camp thing and everything you can do when you set up camp. Do you think you could just explain, you know, what everything you can do it in camp, or just a brief overview of?
You know, I think that at this point we're not going into a lot of details about where her character arc will take her, only what we've shown thus far, and it pretty much highlights that you have you as Lara, and she's growing and learning and using her survival skills, survival instinct, and as she moves through this world, what's it like to truly overcome this hostile world. When it comes to her equipment, we've talked about being gear gated, and that gear needs help over time to start to support that actor in the scene, right? To really take Laura to the next level, she's going to need to keep her equipment tip top, because that's really what a survivor needs, right? They need their go-to stuff. You saw me be attacked by a wolf, and as that wolf comes, it's not a good time for me to be like, oh, I'm out of arrows, right? Although you did see that happen, right? Like I was like, oh, I gotta go get some. This is going to be a panic situation as I run around trying to find some.
Now there's tons of action in the demo. I mean, in everything I've seen so far for it. But are there still going to be puzzles in the game?
You know, it's still a Lara Croft game, right? She is a Tomb Raider as she's discovering what that means, right? And as she's on this world, you're going to find situations where she has to be resourceful. We showed that last year. She was downstairs in a dank cave trying to come out, and she had to misuse a machine that a scavenger had built to sort flotsam and jetsam that came out of a plane. It's very much that same situation. Using physics as a star, right? Understanding that physical-based things that you and I both understand, fire, water, mass, things of that nature, and how they actually come together for her to be able to overcome the odds that she's against.
Okay, so I guess you could say you're kind of taking the puzzles from the classic Lara Croft games and just putting them, you know, into like survival techniques and, you know, just basically trying to figure out how to survive, right?
Yeah, she's trying to figure out what to do with this island and how to move through it, right? And so whatever she encounters along the way, it's probably appropriate for something that needs to be overcome.
Well, great. I can't wait for it to come out. It looks awesome. Do we have an official release date on it?
Yeah, we have an official release date, March 5th on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC.
All right, awesome. You got anything else to add on it?
No, I think for everybody at Gaming Bliss, it's just about saying, hey, we're big fans. You know, I'm out there on the forums and watching the video feeds as well. Love to hear what people's comments are, and, you know, we're working really hard trying to bring a story to life that we kind of feel needs told, right? With the origin of video games heroines, kind of an exciting thing to put together and to work on and to try to understand what that character arc looks like and where does it take her.
Definitely, I agree. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The designer of Tomb Raider right here, or lead producer rather. I'm sorry. All right, Karen's Bliss out.